What's happening, everybody? This is Gayuka Musa, also known as Coach G. I'd like to welcome you to this week's episode of the Friday Fix. Now, for today's episode, we're going to discuss and try and help you determine whether or not you take your partner personally. Whether or not the things that they say or the things that they do really get at you at a personal level. And there are a couple of clues that's going to help us figure this out. The first clue is, are you often offended by the things that your partner says or does? And the second clue on the other end of the spectrum is, are you often thrilled by the things that you experience with your partner? Now, if either of those are true, it may be an indicator that you take your partner personally. So I know what you're thinking. Coach G, what's the big deal? Like, who cares? So what if I take my partner personally? So what if I enjoy some of the things they bring my way and I detest some of the others? Like, isn't that all normal? Isn't that a regular part of everyday interaction, everyday relationships? Don't we love some of the things and hate some of the others? Isn't that normal? And my answer is definitely. All of that stuff is very normal. It's perfectly normal to have an emotional response to something that you experience. But what I want you to pay attention to and stay on the lookout for is whether or not you attach how you feel about yourself to that enjoyment or that hatred of that experience. Because when that happens, it sets you up to be on this emotional roller coaster where, you're going through all these loops and twists and turns and the big drop, and it feels like your partner's the one controlling all of that. Almost like you're Pinocchio and they're the ones with the strings. But that's not really the truth. And to prove it to you, I want to tell you this story. The story comes from Wayne Dyer, who's one of my favorite authors and favorite teachers. And it's a story that he shared over the years a number of times, and it's really had a profound impact on my life. And I want to share that story with you today. And so in this story, Wayne is talking with another gentleman, and the conversation kind of goes like this. The other guy comes up to him and he says, "Hey, Wayne, I'm really feeling really sad right now. I'm kind of depressed, just not feeling very well." Wayne says, "Wow, I'm really sorry to hear that. Why do you feel this way?" And the guy says, "Well, it turns out my mother is really sick and she's in some pain and it's just really bothering me. It's causing me to feel really bad." And Wayne says, "I see. I'm sorry to hear about your mother's situation, about her condition." He says, "But your mother being sick is not actually causing you to feel bad. It's not causing you to feel depressed." And the guy looks at Wayne, he's like, "Are you crazy? Like, yeah, it is. I'm depressed, I'm sad, my mama's sick. These things go together. I'm definitely feeling this way because my mother's sick. There's nothing else going on in my life that would make me feel this way. What are you talking about?" So then Wayne says, "Well, imagine this. Imagine you're at a conference, an all-day conference, and you're at a big fancy hotel, and you're in a hotel ballroom with all the other attendees of the conference. And, there's keynote speakers and different speakers up on the stage. And one of the rules for the conference is that all the participants need to turn off their cell phones. Because, nobody wants to be the guy where the keynote speaker is up there speaking and all of us. Nobody wants to be that guy. So you're at this conference, your cell phone is off, you're enjoying all of the different topics that you're learning about, interacting with all the other people in the room. And while you're at the conference, a member of your family, tries to communicate with you to inform you for the first time that your mother is sick. So tell me how you'd feel about that right now." And so the guy thought about it for a second. He says, "Well, I guess I'd feel fine. I wouldn't know that she was sick, so I'd feel fine." And he says, "But your mother's still sick." The truth is, your mother being sick doesn't actually cause you to feel sad. It doesn't cause you to feel depressed. What causes you to feel sad and depressed are the thoughts that you have about your mother being sick, the disasterizing, the worrying, all the things that go along with considering all the possible realities associated with her being sick. The thoughts of knowing that she's in pain or in discomfort. And all of those thoughts are normal. It's normal to worry about the people we love. It's normal to have empathy for their situation and the discomfort that they're in. It's normal to have hope about them recovering and getting better. All of those feelings are normal, but what we have to be aware of is the truth that the situation didn't create those feelings, that we created those feelings with our thoughts, and that you proved it to yourself that when you didn't know about your mother being sick, and she was actually sick, you still felt fine. So it wasn't your mother being sick that actually caused you to feel that way. And I share that story with you today because it had such a profound impact on me. And it really dovetails into this, do I take my partner personally conversation. So what I want to do is I want to go right into today's fix, because today's fix is summed up just like this. It's not about me. Basically our challenge is to own our own feelings. It's to really take charge and understand and be responsible for the fact that we create our own feelings. Our thoughts create our own feelings. So what I want you to do this weekend is I want you to pay attention to those moments when you have an interaction with your partner and you start to notice, whether they be good or bad, some intense feelings. And I want you to own that. I want you to say, I created that. Even though your partner may have been the catalyst or the inspiration for those feelings, they didn't actually create those feelings in you, you did. And you get to choose how you're going to feel about anything. Now, the second thing I want you to do as part of this fix is I want you to ask yourself the following question. What is it about my partner and their experience that caused them to respond to me in this way? So the purpose of this question, because it's not necessarily one that you're going to be able to completely figure out this weekend, but the purpose of asking this question is to really kind of get yourself out of your own head and out of your own heart, and to start to try to see what might be influencing your partner to behave in the way that they're behaving, to make the choices that they're making. What is it about their personal story and about their experience and everything that's led them up to this very moment? What is it about all of that that might be influencing or motivating them responding in a certain way? Ultimately, when you can understand that, you can have so much more compassion for your partner and so much more understanding, and it becomes so much more difficult to take what they've done or what they've said personally, because now you have a larger understanding of a greater context. There's this quote from the author of the Four Agreements. His name is Don Miguel Ruiz. And the quote says, "Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you." And if you think about that, unless you've been married for 25 or 30 or more years, there's a really good chance that your partner has been without you longer than they've been with you. That there's so much that they've experienced in this life, including the experiences they've had with you, that don't have anything to do with you. There's so much that they've experienced that has shaped and has added some seasoning to their personal story. That's really expanded their own personal context and has informed how they respond to things, how how they feel about things, what their failures have been, what their triumphs have been. All of those things which are outside of your control, and most of them happened before you even met them, all of those things influence how they respond in any given situation. And for you to personalize or take personally or think that it's about you is kind of arrogant. It's kind of, that's a stretch. So here's what I'll leave you with. I'll leave you with the following. Your partner doesn't make your experience. They just make it more interesting. And what I want you to do is, I want you I got a couple questions for you. I want you to tell me, what are some of the things in your relationship that you take personally? And I also want to know, what things you've tried from this video that have really helped you take those things less personally. Until next time, this is Coach G reminding you to free your mind so your life will follow. Thanks for watching. Take care of each other, all right?